Again, we have so few really complicated relationships in media. I know we talk about complex characters a lot, but they're really usually not, especially when it comes to relationships. They're
Well,
usually
because
pretty
the
black and
time
white.
we have, like we said, we have 30 some odd episodes to learn this. We don't have 90 minutes. Friends in fear, welcome to another great episode of the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies. I am your host, Matt, and this is my design. And if you know that line, you do know that line because, friends, Hannibal, the TV series, how good was that show on NBC, right? Okay. So I want to be joined today by my friend, your friend, everyone's friend, author J.W. Ocker. You've had him on the show many times. You've all read his books, I hope. He, the author of Living in Salem, Season with the Witch, the New England Compendium. I went to one of his online talks and I won his new book, the cult book, and I won it and they delivered it to me and I read it on my airplane ride to Wisconsin as I was flying to Wisconsin to go shoot my film about the Beast of Bray Road. So there's all my connections with that book. So JW, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. I'll mention quickly, your idea, you had posted like a year ago maybe, of you were in Toronto and a bunch of the locations where they shot Hannibal. And I started thinking, God, I love that show. We got to do an episode. So now you're here. We're going to talk about it. Thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, man. Hannibal is one of my top 5 favorite shows. And and I'm not even being vague. I literally know my top 5 shows and it's right in there.
Oh, now you have to name the top 5 shows.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of it's disappointing. So my top 5, and not in this order. I don't order them, but the top 5 are the sitcom MASH.
Okay.
The police show The Shield.
Okay.
X-Files, Star Trek Next Generation, and Hannibal. Those are my 5 that like.
The Simpsons is not on this list?
No, I was never a Simpsons guy. I just never was. I don't know why. I just never was never anti them. I just one of those things that just never, it was always around me so much that I was just like, why get involved? It's like I know all the lines, I know all the characters.
Life. Yeah.
Exactly, it's part of life.
Here's a good question. TV, I always talk with people. 2 of my favorites. Did you ever get into Northern Exposure and Picket Fences?
I love Northern Exposure.
Yes.
I watched it. I've been always wanted to do a rewatch for a while. I haven't gotten around to it. But it's one of those things that like I need to go back to that world, that like that isolated, trapped world with this like New York doctor who like, and I want to see that. Picket Fences I caught a lot during when it was on, and it was always bizarre. But for some reason, it never hooked me enough to like I need to go back and watch it. But I remember every episode I saw, I remember like a core memory almost because they were all just so
weird. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, man, these are. So like it's definitely
Green
in my
Bay
future
Chopper and there were some odd things. If you ever go out to Washington, you can go visit where they shot the town Roslyn.
I've been there.
Yeah, okay,
Twice.
I was there too. I've been there. It's awesome. Yep, it's awesome. You eat the brick.
They still have the radio station.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like, mural on the side of the bar. It's all there.
That show was so great. Anyway, we're way off topic. That's okay. Anyway, so favorite, horror shows though. I mean, Tales from the Crypt for me was like the best. I mean, God, I love Tales from the Crypt. Friday the 13th, I think, had a series. I think I've maybe seen an episode. Remember a show called Nightmare Cafe that was on NBC?
Yep. That was
awful.
Anthology shows never quite do it for me. I mean, obviously, Twilight Zone is like the template, but like it's hard to keep coming back for a brand. You have to get used to new characters and new ideas, and like it's a flaw in us, I think. But again, it's hard to like really get into every week a different story because again, the whole point of a series is you're coming back for this kind of the same characters, the same story arc, the same.
You want more
parameters.
Right. You have all this time to do this. You can meet these show, and I think that's a big thing in this show is the character study. So okay. For those that, I mean, we're going to obviously spoil this, of course, for you, but so this Hannibal is essentially taking place with a lot of the characters from Red Dragon. So Thomas Harris wrote The Silence of the Lambs. He wrote Hannibal and he wrote Red Dragon, right? So Hannibal is your sequel to Silence of the Lambs. Red Dragon is the before Silence of the Lambs stuff about Hannibal Lecter being the, eclectic gastro psychologist that he is, man about town in respected society of Baltimore, right? And he gets caught by Will Graham. Red Dragon, I mean, we all know Silence of the Lambs is fantastic. Hannibal is not for me, but the movie Hannibal, I should say. Red Dragon, I loved Red Dragon. I loved the prequels. I thought it was a great film. I loved the Francis Dollarhide Tooth Fairy stuff. So I was very excited to see this show when it came out. This is all really about those characters. It's all about before Silence of the Lambs.
Did you watch Manhunter?
I've seen it once a long time ago.
So Manhunter is probably my favorite of all. So I was
Okay,
telling you,
so that's a good question.
I was
Yeah.
telling you about this before
Who
we started
plays
recording.
Hannibal Lecter in that?
Man, I just dropped it. He's some British guy. It just
Yeah,
literally just fell out of
right,
my head just now.
right.
Definitely not anybody like
Mm-mm.
Anthony
No.
Hopkins at all. He's not more like crude and like he talks deeper and just like he's not
Right,
like doesn't sound erudite even though he's super intelligent.
right.
But Manhunter is just amazingly filmed. Like it's like rich
Yeah,
visual in the way they use
it's
music
good.
and the
It's
dollar
good.
hide, like the way they like the ending of it when they start playing Inagata Vida and like
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
dollar hide runs through and breaks that giant photo of Mars. It's like
No, it's a
because I'm
great
not a big
movie.
fan. I told this before, but I'll put it on the record here. I was never that big a fan of Hannibal and the movies. Not because I didn't like them. They just I loved Anthony Hopkins' performance. I thought that was amazing. Whatever.
Yeah.
They just weren't my thing. They're a little bit too police procedural for me, and they were just
Mm-hmm.
and another thing that widely acclaimed, right? Which when they're widely acclaimed, they don't always need my acclaim, right? So they just never there was somewhere on my radar over here. I didn't hate them. They weren't like my burning passion, but like I respected them and they were there. And that's one of the reasons why I put off watching Hannibal the series. I just never I was like, I don't need to. And I think they'd already done like the Hannibal prequel at that time when he was young, and that was awful.
Oh God, that movie was terrible.
Hannibal
Yeah.
Rising, right? That's what it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. Hannibal Rising.
Yeah. So I was like, do I? And I hate prequels. I hate backstories. I hate all those
Really?
things. And
Okay.
I'm like, I don't want to see the backstory of Hannibal Lecter.
I love that.
So I fought off watching the series for so long. And even now, even though it's my favorite series, I don't know how to explain it to people. Like why? I'm like, I know why deeply, intensely, but like it's a horror series. Yeah, there's a million of those. It's about a serial killer and profiler. Yeah, there's a million of those. He's a cannibal. Yeah, I guess that's cool. Like and then you're like, and also he has to beat Anthony Hopkins' performance, right? And it's really
Ugh.
hard to like
Right.
pitch
Good
the
luck.
show for somebody to watch. And which is sad because this is one of the most uncategorizable, I can't say the word, uncategorizable
There
movies
you
or
go.
shows out there. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
It's disturbing, but not in the way you think it is. It's beautiful, but not in the way you think that is. It's intense, pretty much in the way you think that is. But it's just a unique show, and that's what I'm always after is a unique show. Show me things I've never seen before, and Hannibal
For
does that
sure.
every single episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is so you're not looking forward to the Friday the 13th prequel with Linda Cardellini show, are you probably, huh?
I'm not. I mean,
Not for
I'll
you.
listen to the buzz, and if the buzz
Yeah.
is like interesting enough, I might get it. Because I love Jason, but like, I
Right.
don't need to know. I don't need the mystery dispelled. Put it that way. Oh,
See,
that said, Hannibal isn't a prequel series. It's not. It turns out it's not. It is just a
yeah,
retelling of the, like you said, of the books
it's
in a
based
different way.
and always and it even says on the show based on the characters from this book. It's not based on the book, it's based on the
Yeah,
characters
good
from
point.
right.
Yeah.
So I will watch the Friday the 13th, but I mean whatever. So anyway, the show itself. Okay, so 2013 to 2015, 3 seasons.
Hmm.
One of these shows that for me, like one of my favorite, we're talking favorite shows. One of my favorite shows of all time is Friday Night Lights, another NBC show. I feel like you and I probably watch a lot of these shows, a lot of people that are critically acclaimed, but audiences they don't get the ratings, right? And so they don't last very long. Hannibal, same thing. Beautiful, genius, didn't get watches, so they canceled it, right?
It should never have been a network show. It was so
Well, yeah.
on network.
How
It
is
should
this?
have been.
How is this on NBC in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
right. This is an HBO or a Showtime or something like that, right? So anyway, so I think it was what 12 episodes each season, so there were like 30, almost 40 episodes total, maybe something like that. Not a ton. They all were great, and
Mhm.
it is our first foray into this is we are in Minnesota, and not special. Will Graham he is a interesting guy. He's a forensic examiner, I guess, where he's able to get in the minds of killers and actually recreate their like crime. So
Yeah.
they're looking at this murder in Minneapolis in Minnesota, and back at FBI headquarters, he's giving a speech on something, and Jack Crawford, who of course you remember from Silence of the Lambs, head of the behavioral science unit for the FBI, says to him, "Listen, we got a killer. We're trying to track him down. Will you help us?" Will is potentially on this on the spectrum, I guess, right? He's very unique. He's an interesting individual. He can like actually literally go inside the heads, and they have these. When I said this is my design, he always would use that line when he was examining. This is my design. He'd step inside the killer's head,
Yeah.
and he'd
And
be
again,
back.
just to stop you right there. This is one of
Yeah,
those things again where it almost sounds cliche, like a
right,
profiler that knows the mind of the serial killer, and
right.
it's not like that. Like it's so unique it's unique how they do it visually, how they show him go into the mind of the serial killer. It
Yes.
is unique how they show the effects on him. This guy from day one, like you said, he is beat up, not in like a
Yeah.
cool way, like the
No,
profilers are in
he's got
movies.
issues.
This guy is miserable and just worn down to the bone because of this
Yeah.
talent he has.
Yeah.
And not in a, again, not in a cool way. He's not like I've seen more stuff than you, whatever, smoking a cigarette.
No.
He's like you really feel bad for him. You feel
He
absolutely sorry for him. And again,
he
that's
has terrible like people skills. Like he can't function very well. He's messed up. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so again, that's why I have trouble pushing people to watch the show because I just don't have the vocabulary to explain why this is different than your average, million profilers shows out there.
No, you're right here, and it is. I think I'm kind of rambling on how to really explain him. I think that's a good point, right? So he's a unique guy with an incredible talent that the FBI would hire, anyone would hire in a moment, right? Because of this, like he stops and he thinks and he closes his eyes and he relives the moments, and we'll get to those stuff, I guess. But they bring him in and they're looking for this case, and the first thing for me, and by the time the first episode is over, I'm in love because we're in this autumn landscape of Minnesota. It's this northern. The yellows are the trees are insanely yellow. The colors, the richness of like the palette is just like whoa. Okay, what did I just watch? And at the same time, like the violence is like stylized like an Italian giallo film or something. Like it's incredible, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, and that's a Brian Fuller's touch. Brian Fuller produced it. He's that
there
kind
you
of
go.
guy
So,
where
yeah, Brian Fuller. Yeah, talk about that. That's right.
You always hear like TVs and movies are a visual medium, but what most people mean by that is people move around on the screen. What it should mean, what it means to like the real artist is that I have every square inch of this screen to tell you a story, communicate
Mise
a
en
feeling.
scene, using everything in the palette and on the image. Yeah, yeah.
And they do that. And in fact, I was thinking about this earlier, like when before, like just kind of as prepping the show in my head. I was like, how would I describe it? And all those things we just said, I can't describe it that way. It's almost a fantasy.
Yeah.
Where the world is different. The world is visually different. Way people act are a little bit different. Obviously Hannibal Lecter in this show lives in his own world. Like there's he has no peers. He believes he has no peers. He believes that like humans are like a different species and below him.
Pretty much.
So like he's in his own little fantasy world. And I don't mean fantasy world in like he's delusional. He's not. He's very realistic, practical, smart, intelligent. He just lives in a different world. And that's kind of what the series does. It exists in a different world somehow.
No, it does. And it's the plots are at times confusing. I'll admit I had a rewatch. Season 1 to me seemed to kind of drag a bit when I looked at it the second time. It kind of we're learning characters, we're fleshing them out. This is a show that is very, very much about characters, very much about them, and we get to know them. And really, what's going on is there are these awful murders just happening, and terrible things like these women being killed and hung up on like antlers, and just awful stuff. And the Chesapeake Ripper shows itself, and we meet Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is well-to-do, and he is, like you said, he has no peers. He is above everyone. He is massively intelligent. He's a psychiatrist. He is a absolute gourmet. He lives in Baltimore. Knows everyone.
He's schooled in all of the he
can play classical music. He's an artist. Yeah, he's
the fashionista. My favorite line the whole thing is at one point in time the forensic team has to like prove his innocence. At one point they take his suits as like to like brush for like fibers and stuff, and they said, well, in the meantime we suggest you refresh your wardrobe a bit. He's like, I often do. It's just like that's who he is,
So just like Patrick Bateman, I'm a big suit guy. I'm a big suit and tie guy. So I own probably 1,000 ties and 10, 15 suits. I'm kind of the same like that too. So I love his outfits and the 3-piece and the wardrobe. Love
his suits are amazing.
He
the patterns,
is very well. His ties, the big fat ties he wears.
The fat ties. There's always a bit of like plaid or something on it. He's his. Yeah. And I'm not a fashion guy. Like I could care less about fashion, but and that's what I'm trying to say by it's a fantasy. I don't know anything about food. I don't know anything about fashion, and yet somehow because this show while I'm watching the show, I'm all about those elements. Like those things are. I'm like, man, I'm missing an entire world of all these things that I'm just getting a peek into in the show.
Absolutely.
While whatever he goes around killing and eating people.
Well, that's the thing. He has all these things. It turns out he's also a cannibal and he's murderer. Not if that's your thing. Yeah. So he's killing people and they're investigating all this, but of course he has them totally snowed, obviously.
Yes.
They bring him in for this, and what he eventually does, he turns the tables, and he eventually gets Will committed to the Baltimore asylum for whatever it is, and eventually frames him for all these murders that are happening. Right now, Will kills the is it the Minnesota Shrike is the name they give to David Jacob Hobbs, right?
Yeah.
And he kills him, and he almost kills his daughter. He sets his daughter, sort of Abigail, but she lives.
Yeah.
She plays a part in this. She's kind of hanging around. Obviously, the family's after her because of what her family did. The victims are after her. She actually does kill one of the victims' brothers, right? And Hannibal helps her bury that body. And they don't tell anybody. And they kind of tell Will. Will kind of gets in on these things, and the rest of our characters too. So the two things for me where I kind of struggle with Lawrence Fishburne, or Larry Fishburne, as we like to call him from Apocalypse Now. I think he's great, but I struggled for a while with him as Jack Crawford, and I guess because I can't get Anthony Hopkins out of my head, I kind of had a problem with Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal for a minute. I kind of had to give that time to kind of sink in. But then the rest of them I love. Now, I'll confess these two. Alana Bloom and Margot Verger.
Yeah.
Massive crush on both those actresses. Caroline Darvanay and Catherine Isabel, who was in the what's the vampire? Not the vampire. The werewolf movie. Ginger Snaps.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Huge crush on both of them. Seriously.
And let's not forget Gillian Anderson. Gillian Anderson wanders into the show at one point.
So we got to talk about
into the show, and
yes.
what you learn within seconds is, she had an entire show with Hannibal that we never saw, and she's still traumatized by that show.
Yes. So, yeah, I have a huge crush on the two on the two of them that are in the show. So that made the viewing all that much better. But yes, we have Alana Bloom as a psychiatrist. We have Isabel doesn't come till later, but then the three folks at like the CSI, what is it, Beverly, and the two forensic guys, the two forensic guys who kind of remind me of the Silence of the Lambs guys. But anyway, so because they're always and these murders, I feel like sometimes I'm watching a Murder She Wrote episode because people are just showing up dead every episode. Like how is this possible every single time? And the murders are like insanely like buried under mushrooms, made of totem poles.
They're
like
creative and they are
hives, right?
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yes.
They tell a story. Everything in this movie show is beautiful. Even the ugliest
it's all beautiful.
Things out there there's a beauty to it.
That's why it's like an Italian horror film. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because again, Anthony Hopkins, or I did myself, Hannibal Lecter can't do anything that doesn't have some elevated purpose to it, some sense of aesthetics or beauty or intelligence or something. Sensation. He can't do. He has to do things well. In everything he does, he has to do it well. He has to enjoy it well, perform it well, explain it well. Like the shots of the food are like
the overhead shots and the music playing with the parallel edits of other things happening while he's cooking all. The food porn is already a concept. So much food
that was invented before this, but this was more food porn than anything I've ever seen called food porn in my life. And again, with the twist being every single one of those things we saw is human meat, right? Which they don't always tell you. You just kind of have to know that it's almost always served human meat, right? I think there's that one line when he's always inviting people over for dinner, always like this is so good.
Big parties.
He's like, this is not for vegetarians. He always tells them that,
Nothing on the menu is vegetarian. He'll say.
That's right. But let's get back to what you said. So it took you a while to engage with Mads Mikkelsen, who to me, I think you'd agree with this as well. He is the show. Like he is the show. Like without him, this show is probably a lot more procedural and not as interesting and not as vital.
Mm-hmm.
He is the show, and I don't just mean Hannibal Lecter. He does amazing Hannibal Lecter, but like his presence as an actor, like the way he communicates, it's all understated. You never really see him go animal, even though he does animal things. You never see him do that, right? Because again, he's just. I felt this was my introduction to Mads, and I will watch after this show. I watch everything that he comes out with because I just find him that like alluring as an actor.
Good, he's good. He definitely. It's a completely different look at. Because like in Red Dragon, it's still Hannibal, it's still Anthony Hopkins playing him, and obviously Manhunter separate, whatever. But yeah, he's this sophisticated guy, and he's killing people, and he gets brought in on all of these when every crime scene. Okay, think about let's think about the crimes. How about the guy that gets killed by the musician that kills him, and they basically rip him apart and cut him out of strings, right?
They turn him into like a bass. I can't remember the name of that those giant guitar-looking
cello.
things. Yeah, cello. There you go.
A cello. The silo, the grain silo, all people. The guy was sewn in and escaped. Right.
That was an amazing to explain how this is the level of serial killer there. So there's a different serial killer who was killing people based on their skin color. And I don't mean that in a racist way. He was looking for certain tones,
Right.
and you didn't know why until at one point Hannibal gets there and looks down to the top of a silo. At the bottom is this like
I love your work.
Yeah, it's a spectrum of color. It's like of human flesh tones.
Yeah.
That's again ghastly but beautiful. And then Hannibal finishes the work for this guy
does.
using the actual serial killer to finish it out, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Again, it's just the metaphor there is amazing, and like the idea there is amazing. And it is schlocky. It's a little bit schlocky, right, to describe that, but it doesn't come off as schlocky at all. It comes off in again, I got vibes from the show I've never gotten out of a TV show, maybe not even out of a movie before. So again, it's just every frame of those 3 seasons is a treasure, I think.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, and yeah, the silo, that was crazy. That silo, and I'm just trying to think. Oh, so let's not forget during the show, Miriam Lass, what's her face from My Girl, right? The actress. She's a trainee that works there, and she disappears, and Jack Crawford feels guilty for it. Of course, she turns up later, right? And just all these murders are happening. He frames Will. Hannibal starts sleeping with Alana Bloom, and everyone's sleeping with each other, and it's all going on. There's just so much stuff happening. And Will goes to court, of course. And also, we get to see Dr. Chilton, Frederick Chilton, who reminds me really of exactly Frederick Chilton from Silence of the Lambs, quite frankly. He's pretty much the same actor. He's a sleaze. He only cares about himself and whatever fucking book he's going to write or whatever. He's a total dirtbag, right? But he's great. He's so great. So
he pays for it, though. He definitely pays for it.
Oh, yeah. So we'll get to that. Freddie Lounds, but Freddie Lounds is a woman this time instead of what's his face? Who was the actor? Oh, gosh, he's passed away. Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Okay. So works for the Tatler. So like I said, I was a big fan of Red Dragon. So we'll get to that though. So that first season's kind of feeling them out, finding what's happening. We know what's going on. Hannibal's always there. Or are we going to find out about this? Jack Crawford goes to his dinner parties. They always talk and they eat so much and they love to, and if Jack's wife is dying, Hannibal kind of tries to help him, just help her commit suicide almost, really.
Yes.
And everyone's like out to get Will, and you're crazy and you don't know anything. And then we move to season 2. And Abigail's not around. Freddie Lounds gets killed, but she doesn't die. They fake her death, I guess, right? Yes. They bring her back. The one woman who dies in the exploding oxygen tank, remember that?
Oh, yeah. And also one of the forensic people gets like sliced up, right?
So Beverly, right?
Beverly, yes.
She goes because she's talking to Will while he's locked up. And she's helping him with the case because she believes him, essentially. And Jack's mad about that. Will's like, I'm going to prove my innocence. I'm not pleading guilty. Forget all this stuff. This is all because Hannibal's done all these crazy things, like saying he has encephalitis by taking these MRIs, not telling him what the truth is, drawing the clock, remember? But it really isn't the wrong way to draw the clock.
So that's the thing that comes out in this series. Again, I haven't read the books, but that's the thing that comes out in this series. It didn't come out as much in the movies, is that like we get to see Hannibal Lecter actually be a genius, actually be a manipulative genius, right?
Yes.
He manipulates people from first second of the first, and you don't know it either. As an audience, we don't even know
he's doing it just constantly. That's all he does.
Yeah, but we don't know it, and most of the time we don't even know it. Like we just think he's like doing this.
Right.
But we get to see like how he is literally 100 steps in front of Jack Crawford, who's the head of whatever he is. He's the head of the
behavioral sciences.
Behavioral sciences division, right?
Yeah.
So he literally inviting that guy to his table.
They're friends.
Victims of the crimes that this guy's trying to solve, right? So you think he's being like,
it's insane,
dangerous, and not like being careful, but he cannot be more careful. He doesn't do anything. Again, doesn't do anything haphazardly. Doesn't do anything half-assed. He is exquisitely careful, whether that is writing music or like taking apart a body, right? He does it exquisitely. And that again, and you get to see this character actually be, instead of like in Silence of the Lambs, in the movie, he's mostly talked about being a genius, right? You only get to see what he does.
It's already after the fact. He's already been caught.
After the fact. That's
we
right.
already know
he escapes, but like it's not like super genius escape level. He just does some
that's a pretty
cover
great
ideas
escape,
and escapes.
That's a pretty great escape. Someone else.
Yeah, it's a great escape. But and so like now we get to actually see his machinations as he like again he manipulates Will into like thinking he's a killer and thinking he's sick and hiding his sickness and manipulating Jack and Jack's wife. Everybody was fooled by this guy, including
everyone.
Even like us. Like we know from day one, because his name's Hannibal Lecter, that he's the bad guy, the ultimate bad guy in this series. We know this, and as his name is the show, and yet still there's times that I was fooled. Somehow I was still fooled.
He got you. He got you too.
It's so, because again, Mads is so good. The writing is phenomenal. The character, all the characters are good. It's one of those shows where you're not disappointed. Whoever's on the screen, you're happy. It's like some of the
They're
shows you
great.
only want three people on the screen, everybody else you don't care about. Every single character in this drama, you're okay with being on the screen. Like if Hannibal disappears for an episode, you're still okay because there's so much else to like play with.
There's so much.
So yeah, it's just you get to see Hannibal in all his. Again, this is what series are made for. Like I don't like stretching things out, but series are made for getting deeper into characters, and that's exactly what they did. They use the medium better than most people use the medium.
It's beautiful, and yeah, you get to learn so much about them. So I love, yeah, that scene with Beverly. She's the forensic FBI agent, and she's finding more. So she finds out, okay, when he's not around, I'm going to go to his house, and she breaks in, and he comes back, and he finds her. And
Terrifying scene.
yeah, you never actually see what really happens, but then the next day, so what? He took her and he killed her, and he froze her and he sliced her,
Yeah,
like precision in like sections, and then like put her in like a glass, and then they find her body literally cut into like 20 sections, and
yeah,
Jack
and
goes
put
in
into like into some kind of like plastic resin. It's based on the work of that
like acrylic holders. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some artist that does that with actual animals. Like he cuts sharks up into different blocks. I can't remember the name.
Yes.
It'll come to me later, but he does. That's what he's known for. It was based on that. But that scene, that's the first time Hannibal gets caught, right? In the probably entire show, honestly, but really caught without him. I mean, he's actually literally caught later. He's literally caught later, but he gives up. It's on his terms. But it's the first time somebody finds out who he really is.
Yep.
And when he sees her in his lair, like his eyes, somehow his eyes get black. I don't know how that happens. His eyes get black, and you're like, oh my God, I see the real Hannibal right now. And it is this guy in a freaking tailored silk shirt and tie. I am terrified of him right now. It's really good. All without him becoming like a gross Hyde character. He's not Jekyll and Hyde in the literal sense. He is just, again, tweaked. Again, the nuance and the subtlety of his performance is really amazing for such a show with giant swings, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So he does. He gets caught. Of course, he kills her, so it doesn't matter. And at this point, it's like, okay, now the Ripper, Chesapeake Ripper, has killed one of the staff. This is like they're devastated, right? And of course, then the other guy, who's the other doctor that says he's the killer, but he's full of shit. What's that one guy?
I can't remember names. I know. Is it Eddie Izzard? Is it Eddie Izzard's character?
Yeah. that guy, whatever with him. But and Abigail resurfaces, and then we get to the end of season 2, and we find out that so Will gets released because he goes to court, and of course that great scene in the courtroom when an ear gets mailed to the lawyer. So he's like, "Well, I couldn't have done that because I'm in jail." So, and then of course they try to frame because of the fishing lures and all this stuff, but then they find out like stuff was on his fibers and whatever of Hannibal. I think he actually planted it there. He's 20 steps ahead, like we said. So Will gets out. He's done. He's fine. Of course, it's weird to go back to this and all, and we don't know what's going to happen. And he's obviously psychologically beat up. And of course, the end of season 2 is the showdown, the last episode of that, where they find him, they track him down at his house. And Lana Bloom shows up, and he takes her, and he gets Abigail to push her out a window, and she falls out of like a 3rd-story window and lands on her back. She doesn't die. She's alive. And Will shows up, and she's out in the pouring rain laying there, and he runs in. Jack's been in there because they were fighting, and Hannibal sticks the shard of glass in Jack's neck, and he locks himself in the closet, and he doesn't take the glass out because he knows he'll bleed to death. So he's in there, and he makes like a tourniquet. Will comes in. Hannibal guts Will and like starts to basically cut him right in his, I don't know, his abdomen or his kidney, leaves him to die, kills Abigail, right? And basically gets away. And you're wondering then, cliffhanger thing, what happens to them? And also, let's talk about, though, back up a bit too with Bedelia du Maurier, right? That is Gillian Anderson's character.
Yeah.
Who sounds like she's like some lush drunk the whole time. Hannibal, I do not know what you can do. She talks so slow and like
you can tell she's broken. She comes off at
first. I don't know, man. Yeah.
She comes off at first. She doesn't look broken. She's elegant. Gillian Anderson these days, very elegant. She's also a psychiatrist. She's actually she's Hannibal's psychiatrist,
right?
Yeah, she's Hannibal's psychiatrist. And then you kind of start piecing together. She's a broken person. Like everybody around Hannibal breaks. Like at some point they break around Hannibal. It's what he does. He enjoys doing that. Yes. And he broke her. She's still alive. He didn't kill her, but we get to see the aftermath of like his manipulations that he's doing currently on these other characters that we know. And it's a good way to like again give him some backstory that's not, because they don't delve in it too deeply. They don't like reveal everything. You can just tell they have a past. She's broken, messed up. At the end of the day, she becomes his acolyte somehow. Not in a literal sense, but like I think she cooks her own leg or something like that, and waits for him to come home.
We'll
and he
talk
doesn't.
about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So
When does Hannibal go?
Go ahead.
Because he gives himself up at some point. When does he go to jail? Is that season 2 or season 3?
That is the beginning of season 3. So
okay, gotcha.
Season 1 and 2 were the characters, like we said, from Red Dragon.
Gotcha.
Now we start to actually get into Red Dragon territory, where the events now start to take place in this series too. Yeah. So the aftermath, everyone's obviously, Alana's alive. She's fine. She's got a cane. She's in bad shape. Thank God she's
Everybody survives that.
Everyone survives, right? So Will, I guess, he said basically he's alive, but I guess Hannibal is, he's everything. He's apparently a surgeon as well, and he knows how to cut people. He cut them in ways, he injured them in ways where they wouldn't die. He didn't want them to actually die. Right. So they're still alive. They're obviously in bad shape, right? Jack's wife is still alive. She's in bad shape. But then they eventually track him down, and he gives himself up at Will's house, right?
It's so shocking. He just did it. And I remember that feeling specifically when he gives himself up. My stomach drops. I'm like, don't give yourself up. And then I realize I'm rooting for the wrong person, right? I'm just like, oh, wait. No. We want him in jail. But it's just like this moment. I'm like, don't cage Hannibal. He's like, so, I don't know. Again, I fell under a spell as well, right? I was becoming broken as well.
And that's, remember, later, because once the season 3 begins, he's in Italy. He's off in Italy with Bedelia, who went with him, of course, and they're living in Italy. And these are the scenes actually that are from Hannibal, from the movie as well, because he escapes with Julianne Moore, who plays Cleo Starling in that film, and they run off Italy. But anyway, and he comes back, he kills people there, of course. He murders a few people. He kills them right when they're sitting at dinner with her, and like there's a scene where he just stabs that one guy, I guess, at the dinner table.
Yeah, again, every single episode, I'm like, how are they gonna top this? How are they gonna top this? And they top it every single time. I'm gonna go back to him being in jail. So they reshoot those scenes that like Hannibal Lecter is famous, or Anthony Hopkins is famous for, right? Mm-hmm. He's famous for being in the jail cell and talking to Clarice through the thing. There's no Clarice in the series, but when he's he's like in white clothes, white linen. There's like he's in a plastic box. Basically, he has a toilet and a bed. They're giving him nothing. Not for 1 second do you think that he's not in control. He just comes off as in control, even though he's like not for 1 second. He's like, this guy is trapped and it's over. No, even completely defenseless and vulnerable.
And he already knew how he was going to get out, probably. He probably already thought of that. Yeah.
He did. Yes, he did. Because again, he's 2 seasons ahead of us. So he knew exactly why. He knew he was going to go into jail. He knew he was going to get out of jail. And again, his whole purpose on all this, all these manipulations and all these like plans, he's just curious. Like he is, again, everything interests him. As a psychiatrist, as an artist, as a, as a gourmand, everything is interesting to him. So playing with people's lives is just interesting. It's another way to learn and to feel sensations and to be human, right? That's basically what he's doing, is being what he thinks a superhuman level of human that most people don't get there yet. You know,
his intelligence is just beyond anybody else's, and he can just do all these things, right? Yeah, it's crazy. So he lives it up in Italy, of course, and eating and whatever and murdering and whatever a serial killer does. Comes back, I love when he guts the one guy. Intestines in or out, and he kind of throws him out the window, and his guts come out. And they get him. Yeah, he said. Then he's finally locked up. Then we introduce Mason Verger, who comes in, of course. Yes. And Mason Verger's got a twisted relationship with Catherine Isabel, with Margot, his sister, and he does weird stuff with her, and he wants to have a kid with her, but then he doesn't. And then
he's a good character, because Mason Verger is no worse or better than Hannibal.
No,
but we immediately hate Mason Verger. Like, we hate him for who he is.
Well, because of the crazy shit he does with his sister. I think that's just kind of like the incestual.
That, but also his like power hungriness. He was definitely conceited. All the things that Hannibal's also conceited and also treats people like pigs and those kinds of things. But we hate it in Mason Verger. We love it in Hannibal, because again, there's something about the way Hannibal operates in life that is a bit what's the word? It's admirable, right? Again, not doing things half-assed, to digging into really understanding things and loving things. Like, Hannibal loves things. Like, he definitely loves things. It's like he's enjoying life better than Will is, better than Jack is, better than anybody else. He's enjoying life, And again, not in a carefree, I'll kill everybody way, kind of in that, but also in how he eats, how he dresses, what he does for fun, the instruments he plays, who he meets, the conversations he has. He's just, again, he lives life better than most. It just so happens part of that is killing people and eating them.
You say he's interested in everything. Do you remember the scene at the end of Silence of the Lambs when he tells her, "I have no plans to come for you. The world's more interesting with you in it." And
Yes.
she has to explain to people that she's not worried about him coming because she says he would find it rude to come
Yes.
after her, right?
Exactly.
So
He's
she's
not
worried. Yeah.
He's not an animal. The way he portrayed
Right.
him, he's not an animal. Even when he's ready to kill somebody, he's not out of control.
No,
Nothing
he's not.
about him is
He's
out of
completely
control. He's
calm
not
at
this,
all times.
that's usually what happens in serial killer movies, right? They build up the serial killer as this brilliant genius creature, and then he gets beat really easily by the cops, and then he becomes an animal and tries to like kill fast, and it just. But they never do that with Hannibal in the series. He's always in control, and again, enjoying every moment. Even getting found out by Beverly, there was a bit of he was up for the challenge. It was something interesting, you know. It wasn't like, oh my god, I can't believe. It wasn't even he didn't consider it rude. It was just like I'm into this. I will definitely have fun with this.
Let's go.
I've been waiting to use this plan for a while.
He probably had that all planned exactly. There's that crazy scene that's kind of like the scene from the film Hannibal where he has Jack and Will in Italy, and he takes the drill and starts to drill into Will's head, almost like he does the character. And he gives Jack that, he sedates him. And part of these, I'm just like, at a certain point, like how much harm and physical damage these characters possibly going to endure. Like Will has been like literally torn apart and stabbed and shot and drilled. Like how much are we going to do? Right. So, but
I know
anyway,
that's part of the fantasy. That's part of the, and it's the fantasy in most shows because again, you get shot in the shoulder, you're pretty much damaged for life, right? In movies, you just kind of get up and you just keep shooting, whatever.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but that's part of the fantasy. Again, he is the human body is part of one of his many canvases. Like it's just it's part of that fantasy. If he doesn't want you to live or die, you won't live. It's up to him. Like
it is.
It's again. It's and I'm talking him up, and we're talking him up a bit like he's like this god character. He believes that. Like not in the cheesy way that like a lot of serial killers are. He just knows he's an advanced human being because he has all these. Aside from killing, he has all these other proofs. How intelligent he is, his interests, how well he does things, his level of appreciation for things of all kinds. Like take away his killing, he's definitely a better human being than most of us. So.
Yeah, the whole murdering thing is kind of a problem. So
it is.
Yeah, kind of an issue. So yeah, Mason Verger tries to feed him. He captures him, tries to feed him to the pigs. It doesn't work, of course. He turns the tables on him, drugs him up, and gets him to eat his own face, which he then feeds part of two dogs. And then he breaks his neck. Doesn't kill him. He breaks his neck. Obviously, he wrecks his life, of course. So I mean, the stuff he's done, like I said, it's pretty much just for fun for him. Obviously, he's amusing him. Remember, it's like they say in Silence of the Lambs too, when he goes and he kills he gets what's his face to swallow his tongue, and he says it was just for his own amusement. Like he doesn't really care, right? So we get near the end, and there's this showdown again with Jack and him that go through everything, of course. And the thing that I love, though, is we bring in the Tooth Fairy Francis Dollarhide, the Red Dragon killer from the film Red Dragon, the new serial killer, the one that's hunting people down and brutally murdering them, putting mirrors in their faces and killing these families. And that's what was in Red Dragon. That's what I loved. It was so brutal. It was so nasty. And
he's another version of Hannibal, right? He believes he is becoming something bigger than human. Yeah.
They're talking to each other because Hannibal's faking it and saying that his lawyer's calling him, but it's really the Tooth Fairy calling him. They're having these calls, right? So that reminds me of two lines from the series they pull from the original Silence of the Lambs. There's probably more, but two I remember for sure. One of the lines is when someone goes to visit Will in the hospital, he gives him the instructions like Barney did. Don't touch the glass, stand here, the same instructions. And then when Hannibal's on the phone with a woman saying, "Oh, would you be a dear and get this for me? I'll dance at your wedding for you." That's from the movie too when he tries to get the address, right? So those are two straight from the film, which is great. So he's giving him all these tips. They're talking to each other, and he's encouraging him essentially to kill these people. And he goes to the museum and he eats the painting and kills the woman at the museum, which is crazy. They kept the woman from the film, the blind woman that works at the photo lab. They kept her in it. She gets
and they did very interesting things with her, especially with like the fake death of Dollarhide. That was a really good scene.
Yes. Then and oh man, Dr. Chilton, dude, it's terrible. They burns him, and how would you still be alive after that?
You wouldn't. Again, it's that scene. Like, yeah, you wouldn't. Just wouldn't.
I mean, and you wouldn't you be in like a wouldn't they put you into like a coma? Because
Oh
you
yeah.
you wouldn't be able to stand that pain of
But
that.
then we wouldn't have the dramatic scenes of his like crispy face
Oh,
telling you things, you know?
dude. I mean, the scene is incredible, but I just can't imagine someone could get burned that badly and live. I really don't imagine
Oh,
it.
it's
Anyway,
definitely aching. It's definitely.
or if you did, you wouldn't be alive for more than a few days, I would
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
But that's awful. He's done just horrible things, these people. He escapes. I love the escape scene. He pushes the cop out of the dead cop out of the car and looks at Willis is going my way. Like, you want to hop in? You want to go for a ride? And then you realize he's gotten away and everything. And Alana Bloom and Margot Verger have to escape now because they know he's on the loose. People have got to get the hell out of here. And they go and they finally track down Dollarhide, Red Dragon. They find him, and there's like that epic showdown again where Will gets beat up again, gets
Yes.
stabbed, shot again, and they finally kill him. They attack him, and I love the scene where at the end where he's trying to fight back and he grows like the big wings from like the dragon and everything like that. They kill him, I guess, and then the ending.
It's
So
so good though, but that's that three-way fight that looks like
yeah,
it looks like two dogs fighting a bear almost
right.
is so good. Like
It
again,
is. It's
you're
great.
rooting for this is where the show's taking this whole time is it wants you to root for Will and Hannibal. Like you
Yeah,
like both these characters. You know they're at the opposite ends of the law and that they need to like not be together. They're bad for each other, but you're rooting for them to get to be together in a way and to see them actually doing something together that's right. Like taking down Dollarhide's the right thing. You're fun. That's
yeah.
that moment of catharsis. You're like, this is kind of what I've been looking for the whole time. Even though it's wrong of me to want this, I get this in a way that I can like not be as guilty about. But again, it just
Mhm.
reminded me of two dogs taking down a bear. It was like so.
It
The way they
is.
filmed it overhead, and it was just really
Well,
good.
because Hannibal jumps on him and he bites his neck, and Will stabs him like, and he's just like, you see the blood, and then he makes the comment about how, yeah, you're right, the blood looks amazing, like in the moonlight or whatever he tells him, right? And then the two of them walk up. They're, I don't know if they're mortally wounded. They're in pretty bad shape, and he hugs Will and tells him, "This is what this is what I've always wanted for you." And they just do like a swan dive off a cliff, and you kind of are wondering, is this even real? Is this actually
Yeah.
what happened? And
Yep.
that's it, and that's the show. And you're now in this moment of, okay, are these two in more of a it kind of just like it builds up and it kind of just hits you at the second. Okay, these two had more of a relationship than we knew about. Did I not? Did I? Was this happening? I never noticed it. Is this more of
Well,
a lot of questions, right? At
that's
the
the
end,
whole
like,
thing. We've kind of been putting this off, but the entire show is it's watching a relationship start, progress, and burgeon between Hannibal and Will. The
absolutely,
entire show is about this relationship. Now,
absolutely.
everything else is peripheral to this relationship. Will doesn't, Will is just beat up. He's just trying to solve some crimes, and
He's
then
very vulnerable, right?
very vulnerable. And
He's
then
very vulnerable.
Hannibal is like they see a kinship in each other, despite all the differences between them, philosophically, lifestyle wise, morally,
What
couldn't
they
be more
eat,
different. But
people
because
versus
Will
real food.
understands
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
and Hannibal understands it, but they became they had this relationship, and Hannibal takes on this mentorship of Will, even though
Yes,
Will doesn't want it. They no, actually not this explicit either. I'm kind of like saying it in blatant terms. Hannibal kind of sees it as a mentorship. He's trying to build a family with Will. He's
it's
trying to do these
insanely
things.
manipulative, right? But
Yeah, but the entire time it's manipulation, right?
yeah,
It's probably from a
completely,
sincere point, but
completely.
it is absolute manipulation.
Yeah,
And their colleagues, their peers, he's a psychiatrist. He's Will's psychiatrist.
they
I know a
know what
lot of
each
people
other
want to make them,
knows.
yeah, and a lot of
Right.
people want to make them lovers because there's a lot of intimacy between them,
Uh,
But that almost makes it, and I think I've seen Brian Fuller say this as well. It almost that makes it too black and white of a relationship, too easy a
yeah.
relationship, right? If they're just doing it because of chemicals, because they're in love with each other,
Right.
that's actually boring. What they have is this friendship and this peership that is directly at odds with itself and impossible. It's like so watching them try to exist in this relationship is the whole thrust of the show, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing it's doomed. It's doomed. Like it
Yeah.
cannot work. It can't be like whatever Hannibal's fantasy is of the two of them running around killing people together and raising a daughter to kill with them, whatever. And
Yeah.
it can't
Right.
be Will's either, really. And the good guys win and everybody lives happily ever after. It
No.
can't be that. It can't be either one of those fantasies. So what is it? And that's kind of what this whole show you're waiting for. Like, where is this going? What's going to happen to these two? But they are unique together. They're just again,
Yeah.
we have so few really complicated relationships in media. I know we talk about complex characters a lot, but they're really usually not, especially when it comes to relationships. They're
Well,
usually
because
pretty
the
black and
time
white.
we have, like we said, we have 30 some odd episodes to
That's
learn
right.
this. We don't have 90 minutes.
It would have been impossible to do in 90 minutes. Exactly
Right.
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 So like it's super like you could just write entire dissertations on their relationship
Oh
and what
God,
it
yeah.
means, and like it's so it's the heart of the show. It is 100. I know I said Mads Mikkelsen makes the show. He does in a way, but they are together. They are the heart of the show. This relationship that they're both kind of exploring the whole time, but isn't conventional. Nothing about this relationship is conventional. Not a
No.
single thing. They're not fishing together. They're not sharing a bed together. Nothing conventional. They are it's this weird orbit around each other that none of us knows what would happen. Like that situation is so unique. None of us could predict, where they would go. So it kind of ended really well. I know it ended earlier than they wanted to by about 3 seasons. They had like another three
Well,
seasons of content.
yeah, they said they had 6 or 7 seasons
Yeah.
planned, right? Yeah,
However, I'm okay with where it ended because like
it's fine.
that question is unanswerable, I think. So
Exactly.
like let's not answer it. Let's just leave it here where we can go away with our own brains. I love the ending. I think I almost don't want them to come back. As much as I love watching them on the screen,
They
I
talked
almost don't
about
want them to come back ever. Just these 3 seasons, this perfect arc. Let it end where it ended, and just go.
it is perhaps the most unique of characters, right? I mean, when have you seen a show with two people that, one is a gifted person in the sense of what he knows and will, and one is, an insanely intelligent human being who just happens to do awful things at the same time? Like,
Yeah.
where were you going to find character? And like, yeah, the time to flesh them out and learn about them. And yeah, what are they about? And you could spend, forever. You could spend forever on trying to understand them and figure them out and what their plans for each other are. And
And
God
what they
only
have is what
knows.
we. And then the other thing about it, even though it's so unique, what they have is what we all want. You get me. Like that's kind of in a friendship, in a
Yeah.
relationship, in any
Yeah.
kind of situation. You want somebody to get you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they get each other,
Yeah.
and nobody else can get them the way because
Right.
the scenarios are in because of their gifts and talents.
I feel
When you
like
say you get me in that situation, it means something way different than just you understand my basic desires, motivations, and appreciation.
right. Primal thing. Right. I feel like I've heard people say humans are not unique and we're really all the same. We all want the
Mhm.
same crap. Okay,
I
that's
believe that.
that's fair. But at the same time, I find these two people to be insanely unique. Like
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, like wow. Yeah, they still are just like you and me in ways, but my goodness, they're so unique to me. And
Yeah, and that's to me that's
uh,
what fiction's about, making characters that don't exist in real life, which is why I get bored with most TV shows and movies if I recognize the characters too much, or if they're a little bit too grounded, or if they're a little bit too realistic. I'm just like, I know 40 of those people, and I'm like, I don't need to watch a movie about that person.
right,
I
right.
need to see people that I don't understand, I don't get. I'm just fascinated by
And
like,
that's why, like in all these Friday the 13th, you know right away, well, this is the asshole who's gonna die. This is the stupid woman. Like you know that. Like you know those.
yeah,
They're not, you know what's gonna happen with them. But yeah, this character study is like, wow, it's wild.
yeah.
It's
No,
wild.
I love it. Again, every character does it well. It is really, and I'll play a pun off the my design. It's my design. It is really well designed in every
Yeah.
way. Like it's this series is crafted. It's not just shot and acted and
Yeah.
edited. It is crafted. And again, I think pretty sure it's Brian Fuller,
Oh yeah.
his like genius
He's
and his
great.
like his eye, because very few people could have made the show either. If you give them go make a show about Hannibal, every single body, the way to err on that is there's a million ways to do that wrong,
Oh
and very
yeah.
few ways to do it right. And this way, whatever this way was.
And I think this is probably the reason the show didn't go longer because it probably was maybe too deep for people, and they maybe they didn't get it. I don't know. Maybe they wanted just procedural, violent, whatever. But
Yeah.
so for me, the show, I mean, besides this, character, obviously, I mean, technically, why? I mean, for me, that's just where it's at. It's just so beautiful.
Mhm.
The saturation is just tremendous. Like the reds are just red, and the greens, and just the colors of the season, and the jackets they wear, or the lipstick on one of the women's faces is just, oh my God, like the colors are just
Yeah.
incredible, and it has this just quality to it that is just fantastic,
Mhm.
and it's just well done. It looks great. It sounds great. It's cut very well. The slow mo, like that one scene where he's remembering the house where someone came in, and he's recreating the murder in his head of the guy getting shot on the stairs and the
Mhm.
woman getting the way the blood would spray and the slow
Yes.
mo is just, oh my God. And some of these scenes are just, the violence is just over the top, right?
Mhm.
And the
Oh, this is
images,
extremely. as much
Oh
as we're talking
man.
about how beautiful it is, how crafted it is, how great the characters are,
Ooh, it's
this is an
violent.
extremely violent show.
Ooh,
Um, but a lot of times you're seeing the violence in aftermath, right? You're seeing the piece of art they
yes.
make out of the bodies, right? That's kind
That's
of what
right.
you're seeing.
That's right. That's right.
Only really Will is seeing like what actually
Will
happened. That's
sees
what's
it. We go into his head. Yeah, we
yeah,
go
that's
into
what
we
jacks
see
him up. Yeah,
these
exactly.
recreations. And the
But it's shocking. It's a shocking show. It's lurid. So again,
oh
I
yeah.
don't paint it as like masterpiece theater.
No.
It can get lurid, in again, but in ways that like they always say like violence and gore and stuff could be I can't remember the word, but can be like extraneous, like unnecessary. It's necessary in this. Like
Oh, it's very necessary.
you can't cut any of this out. Like it's
No.
you have to get
Well,
through these parts to get to like
think
the theme.
about multiple times Jack tells him, prepare yourself. Like when
Hmm.
he goes to see Dr. Chilton, prepare yourself. Remember the hotel room with the folks that are tied up and they're praying and their
Yeah.
lungs and their they built wings out of them. Like some of these things that reminded me of Midsummer, by the way. But there are some scenes that are just like, yeah, they are again, like, how is this on NBC? Wow,
Yeah.
okay. But like the violence and the red is just so red. And yeah, for me, it's just the saturation, the colors, the editing, because I love that stuff when I cut my own stuff, and I just I so about the colors and how it looks, and God, they just I need to see like what they shot this on, and I love it. Scenery's great. So that brings us to okay. So you got to go. You've been to all the spots in Toronto, then, right?
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah. So where I never been to Toronto, but it's a big spot. But is everything local in the same neighborhoods? Like where is everything?
Yeah, so I went to two sites, and it's funny. So I went to the sites probably.
Oh, and I love the time lapse. I love the time lapses and tons of time
Yes,
lapses in this show.
that's right.
Love
That's right.
that.
They do those really
Love
well.
that.
Yep. So they
HDR.
so I went so I saw so whatever. I watched the show. I started halfway through the show's run and had to catch up. So I was late to the party, but I wasn't so late it was over.
Mm.
And then a few years after that, I went to Toronto for work, and I just kind of walked to both places. And then years after that, my oldest daughter got really into Hannibal. I'm like, okay, I'll definitely rewatch this show with you. And then I took her up there because we did like a big road trip, and I went to these places twice. And the two places I went to are his office, which in the show
Yeah,
is
where is Baltimore? But where? Yeah, where is it?
Toronto. So it's
Okay.
supposed to be Baltimore. Again, two of us as Maryland guys, we love that. I love like the Chesapeake Ripper and like the Baltimore
Yeah, yeah,
terminology.
yeah.
Um, and so and I saw a really good article one time where like why Baltimore was such a good idea because you think of Hannibal Lecter and he's like so he should be in Paris or some city up to him. But like Baltimore's the perfect level. It has like a culture and it has
Yeah.
rich people, but it can also has a lot of murders. You can hide murders.
Yeah.
It's like the best of both
Yeah.
worlds. Anyways, Toronto is
does.
where they actually filmed it. Like most places, they filmed in Canada, and it's his office. I went to his office, which is it's always that dramatic shot where it's his very elaborate house and then a church right beside of it. It's always that
Right.
interstitial.
He has like a mansion. He looks like a mansion essentially, right? It's like a
Yeah, that's just his office, right? And so
yeah,
you
yeah.
go there, and the church is there, the house is there. It's right across from, and it's not a private. It's like some kind of like home. It's like it's like an office for some kind of like something or other. It's not a private home. And across the street of it is bustling Toronto. It's like a train station and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
And then about 2 miles away, because I walked between the two, is his actual home, the mansion of his home, which
Okay.
is a private residence, and it's in a residential neighborhood just off of, again, Toronto proper. So it's all there walkable. We also did a bunch of American Psycho sites because I was also filmed in Toronto. So
yes, it was.
like there's a lot of parallels between this Hannibal and Bateman. So that they're both from the Toronto. So we just walk around looking at these.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I like doing that. I love seeing. I remember when I first watched a show because again, I immediately want to go visit locations and places of shows that I love. It's something
Right
about
away.
it. I love it.
Yeah,
and I remember watching it and being like, "Oh man, this is a Baltimore show. This is Maryland. This is like the home state. I got to find out where this church is, where this house is, where this is. And you start researching right away, and you're like, "Oh,
nothing.
in another country."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Okay, maybe
Toronto
I can't
or Georgia, right? Pretty much that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember being so disappointed by that, and
I
then
know.
finally accidentally being in Toronto and like taking advantage and then going up there on purpose again. Because again, I love Baltimore. I'm a big fan of Baltimore. So yeah, so I saw those two sites. The other sites I didn't get to, like the FBI building, and I think Will's house cabin thing is out there.
I love his house that he's supposed to live out in Wolf Trap.
It's out in the middle of nowhere, I'm pretty sure.
I love that
too.
I love that.
So other than that, there's not a lot of like those are the regular places you always see. The rest of it is like depending on the story and like if it's a farm or if it's like wherever they find the bodies, whatever. Right. It's all changing. But those two sites, like his office and his home, Hannibal's office and home, is like right there in Toronto. If you're in Toronto, you can get to it easy.
Put on the list. Yeah, I would love to see that. Oh, so we forgot to mention. Yeah, so at the end, Bedelia, the psychiatrist, she is sitting at the dinner table,
Mhm.
and there is a roast sitting on the table. And as the camera dollies out, you see she's missing her leg. So did she go in and cut off her own leg and cook it, and she's sitting there waiting for him to show up? Essentially,
She wanted to impress Hannibal. She finally broke all the way.
oh
And
my God,
and the
dude.
saddest thing about that, this is why the beauty of the show. The saddest thing about that isn't that she cut her leg off and cooked it. The sad thing about that is she's sitting there waiting for him,
Yep, waiting
and
for
he's
him.
not coming.
Nope,
That's what's
he
sad about
sure
it.
isn't. She's gonna sit there and die, and
Yes,
or
yeah.
eat her own. Yeah, she was a trip, boy. She was interesting, but she kind of takes and that's how they ended up catching them. Remember before was because they started to research the grocery list because she was going into town buying all the supplies for him, and that's how they found out about it. But anyway,
Right, that's right.
so yeah, I love the Silence of the Lambs universe essentially at this point. Now, young Hannibal Rising, whatever, forget that. We mentioned to get rid of that. The film Hannibal has good moments. Ray Liotta eating his brain thing. I'm sorry, that was too much for me. Silence of the Lambs speaks for itself, obviously. I love Red Dragon. I
Mhm.
love this series. I've read the 3 books. I've enjoyed them. They might be time for a reread. That was a long time ago. I love him. I really think this series is great. The
You
character,
got
I
to
think.
rewatch Manhunter. Again, it's my favorite.
Oh yes, gotta
I
watch
like Manhunter, and then Silence of the
Okay.
Lambs is my
Go
second
watch
favorite. And again,
Manhunter.
I also like Red Dragon. It's again, I roll my eyes at Hannibal as well, but like there's moments in Red Dragon, and it's the same moments because again,
Yeah,
Manhunter and Red Dragon are the same book. They're based on the same book,
yeah,
just two different visual interpretations and character
yes,
interpretations and director interpretations. They're like two different movies, the
and
same character, so they're worth like
that's
comparing.
a good point because yeah, Manhunter does not get. I mean, I have not mentioned enough. Obviously, it does definitely need some more love. Because of Silence of the Lambs, we're so wrapped up in how good that was, and that just kind of became like the
Anthony
state.
Hopkins made that thing, yeah.
Yeah, it just
And
became that.
Manhunter does
So
have this like 80s sheen to it that I like. The Michael
okay,
Mann 80s sheen, you know?
Michael, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's but I like that about it as well.
Yeah, so this, I mean, okay, so here's the question that I asked. So if you like this, it's a 2-part question. If you like this, what should you watch? And then if you are a character from this series, who are you in this show?
Who am I? It's so funny. I feel like all these characters are so. I'm definitely one of the mortician guys. Those two guys are just
Okay.
joking their
Yeah,
way through the entire show. They're
they're
just
great.
like they're so out of their depth, even though
Oh yeah.
they're both experts in their fields,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
they're just out of their depth and they're just fodder for like scenes and for like they're always
Do
behind.
you
They're never
think they're like the guys in Silence of the Lambs that remember when Clarice Starling comes and they're like analyzing the moth? Or, you think that's right, like a spin of those two guys?
Yeah, because what happened was I think that so
Yeah.
what happened was so Brian Fuller had to go get the rights to all these characters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the rights were with different people, right? Some different production companies, different like the writer, and he wanted the rights to those two guys. Couldn't get him, so he
Yes.
made up his own 2 characters that were
There
just
you
like
go. There you
what
go. That's
happened.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So they were great. And that's kind of I wouldn't be like I'm not intelligent enough for any of that. I'm not dedicated like Will is. I'm not like all those characters are so not me. So I would be the guy just making jokes as I cut open a thigh, I guess.
Hey,
Try
I
to
mean,
find out.
it's okay.
As I'm completely fooled by Hannibal Lecter right over my shoulder,
Yes,
there.
pretty much, pretty much, pretty
So that's what I'd
much.
be. What should somebody watch that they love this show?
Yeah. Because
Man,
horror TV, there isn't a ton of it. I mean, I don't.
but the problem is this thing combines the viciousness of horror
Right.
that you have to be a horror fan to like some of that level of viciousness, right?
Mm-hmm,
It has like this high elite or this elevated look at art, and like he's in Italy, and he's in like he's talking about how he's building all these
food,
meals,
art.
like food I've
Yeah.
never even heard of before in my life, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's like almost 2 different types of shows. Like one is for again masterpiece theater, and one
Yeah.
is a slasher or whatever. So and those
Yeah.
two together are those 2 flavors together. I just never seen them replicated before in that way. But I would say find another Brian Fuller series. I can't remember what else he's done. He was supposed to do the Friday the 13th show.
He did a Star Trek thing, didn't he?
He started on Deep Space Nine. Oh yeah, he did Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
It's an awful show, but beautiful. A beautiful show, but
well,
awful.
There you go. So.
But he was also supposed to do the Friday the 13th series.
Oh, was he? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he was supposed to
Okay.
direct it,
Okay.
and the writer was going to be Kevin Williamson, the guy who wrote Scream.
Yeah.
Because the Friday the 13th license is all over the place and all
it's
handled
crazy.
legally. They end up all kind of going their own directions. But
Mhm.
from what I heard, some of those scripts were amazing. Again, I don't like backstories, but I would have if Brian Fuller's attached, especially in Kevin Williamson. I'm a big fan of Kevin Williamson. if those two are attached, I would have been like the first one to sign up. I've been there on opening night watching it.
Mm.
I think he did Dead Like Me. He's done a bunch of
Oh, okay.
anything Brian Fuller. Like I'd
It's
say
good.
go. Yeah.
It's very good. I would say only thing I could think, go watch Twin Peaks, I guess, would be probably the best thing I could probably suggest. I mean, that show is so fantastic. It's the closest I could think of off the top of my head. And if I had to be somebody, I'd be Will, in the sense that I want my peace and quiet in my little house in the middle of nowhere, and I want a bunch of dogs to hang out with. Just leave me alone, dude. That's it.
Fishing, making lures, and walking dogs.
That's it. That's all I need. Get rid of the murdering and the injuries, please. I don't want any of that stuff, but the rest I'll take. So, all right, this is awesome. Thank you for talking. This is a great show. So you are working on a whole bunch. Tell everybody where they can find your stuff, what you're doing right now, what you got coming up, and where they can follow all the cool stuff you do.
Sure. So all my stuff is connected through oddthingsiveseen.com. So I have a book. Actually, I have a book out. My latest book comes out tomorrow. I don't know when you're going to show this, but it's like a kid's horror novel. So there's that. I have a book coming out in January about strange places across the world that combine the paranormal with the dangerous, like the most weirdest, dangerous spots on the planet. My big thing right now is I'm the last human being on TikTok, the very last one that came in, and I'm doing a lot of little videos of like when I go to my oddities. When I go to like yesterday, I went to see a saint's arm that was like all shriveled up in a church in Connecticut, right? So I do a little video about that, put on TikTok. I put on all the social medias, but it's mostly for TikTok. So that's kind of where you can find me in real time. There's a video of me doing something somewhere somehow. It's kind of where I'm at. And my books, they're sold everywhere, but just Google J.W. Ocker and you'll find. I'm too much on the internet, honestly.
I have read Season with the Witch. I've read the New England Compendium. And what is the cult? What is it? The cult book called?
Following.
Cult Following. I read that. That was excellent. So read them all. I'm going to read everything. At some point, we'll get to everything on your list. Maybe we'll make a TV show about one of your books, like Thomas Harris one day, right? Who knows, man? We'll have to do that. I'll shoot it for you.
No, I love that. I definitely would be more docu-series with the kind of stuff I write.
I'm in. Let's do it. So you guys know, for us, of course, at the Scary Movie Project on Instagram, that's where we lurk the most. There's some Facebook a little bit. thescarymovieproject.com. Please go there, check it out. Watch all the episodes there. Go to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, love it. Watch us talk hilarious things. It's great. And please, keep up with us. Maybe we'll do more. Maybe a Twin Peaks episode might be worthy one day. More horror TV. Tell us if you like it or not. But until then, we'd love to keep talking, but we are having an old friend for dinner.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.